Hey guys, how's it going? Woo! Okay, so check this out, by the way. Tuesday, Spirit Day. There's my sports team right there. Center Riches Lacrosse. All right, so today what we're going to do, right? A couple things I want to announce before we totally get started. First thing is we're going to change up the same thing with the question of the day, okay? Just for Tuesday, what you're going to do is you're going to answer quiz because I have another assignment for you. Especially awesome assignment. Let's check this out. If we go to Google Classroom, okay, the name of the quiz is gonna be the beginning of the Cold War. Don't worry, it's easy. It's basically gonna be a reading activity. So check this out, right? I'm gonna add in Google Drive. We're gonna do this right now, and then I'll go over it and show it to you guys later. There we go. Make a copy for each student. There we are, and complete the quiz. By the way, if anyone has any questions at all about how to add images or files to Google Classroom, my wife just posted a really awesome video on my YouTube channel, so definitely check that out. My favorite mug. All right, so this is what we're going to complete the quiz. We're going to assign this to everybody. There we go. Going to hit assign. I'm not putting a due date on it. Just, get it done by the end of the week. You know what? I'll put a due date on it. Here we go. Make it Friday. Assign. There we go. By the way, it's super easy. I'm going to go over it today in the lesson. So there you go. Hi, Drew. How you doing? Once this is done assigning. All right, so on your Google Classroom, what you're going to do, come on, assign already. Let's go. Here we go. So when you go to the question of the day for week 2, all you're going to do is on Tuesday, you're going to type in quiz. That's it. That's the question of the day. And then I know that you took a quiz that day, and I'm going to be grading your quiz separately on Google Classroom, which we will go over later. So a couple things. I have 2 things going on, okay? First thing is I have a video that I made yesterday that's okay about the Cold War. I'm going to show that. It's about 8 minutes long. And then we're going to go through some political cartoons. It's going to be a short lesson today to let you guys go. And that's pretty much what we're going to do. Let's see. Boom. So today what we're going to be talking about is we talked about the end of World War II a little bit yesterday. But one of the things that goes along with the end of World War II is the beginning of the Cold War. Because the beginning of the Cold War starts at the end of World War II. For example, in World War II, what happens is once we drop the atomic bomb on Japan, the Soviet Union is very upset about this. And they consider this an act of war. And they begin this arms race where they feel like they need to build up a nuclear device just like the United States has so they can match us in power. And this arms race, it's like every time the United States makes weapons, the Russians have to make weapons. And then boom, boom. And we just keep making more and more weapons, getting ready as if we're going to fight a World War III. But obviously we don't. But the fear is that we're going to. And a couple things happen, right? So the Cold War starts with the dropping of the atomic bomb, but then picks up directly after World War II. Because as you can see up this political cartoon right here, this is what Harry Truman, the president of the United States, is concerned about, which is containment of the communist Soviets. To understand the major conflict between the United States and the Soviet Union, you have to understand the difference between our philosophies of life, which are communism and capitalism, which leads me to my first video. I'm going to show you guys about an 8-minute clip that I made yesterday, all about communism and capitalism. I hope you guys enjoy it. Here we go. All right, here you guys. Today we're going to talk about how did the Cold War start, right? The Soviet Union, the USSR versus the United States, USA. All right, here's the deal. It kind of boils down to capitalism versus communism, right? Two different ways of life. The USA believes in capitalism, and of course, the USSR believes in communism. Now, we live in a society full of capitalism. There are pros, there are cons. I think we know, living here in the United States, what the pros and the cons are. The pros are freedom, and the cons are poverty, to break it down simply. Every day when you wake up and you go to school in the United States, you are living in a capitalist system, and you need to know what a capitalist system is, because that defines our everyday, day-to-day life. It's not like communism, which is just a foreign thing to us. The USSR, they believe in communism, right? This is the second different way of life for them. It's very different than the way we live. For example, they would say that capitalism is where workers feed the rich, right? Communists and socialists think capitalism favors the rich at the expense of the poor. The poor people aren't slaves, but they're kind of like slaves, and they work to make the rich rich. Socialism and communism are essentially the same thing in a lot of ways. Socialism suggests that contribution is made from everyone according to their ability, but they get back according to the size of their contribution. So if you do more for society, you get more from society. Whereas communism, on the other hand, they believe that communism suggests that everyone in society contributes and works according to their ability, right? But they get back everything according to what they need. So everyone gets what they need, meaning everyone is equal. So what are the major differences between capitalism and communism? Well, let's start looking at capitalism, right? Of course, capitalism allows freedom, meaning that we get to make choices for our business, right? We get to make choices with what we do. We have choice, right? We get to choose what we do when we get older. It's very different than a communist system. We get to decide if we want to go to school and get an education, right? We get to decide if we make money and become rich. We get to decide if we don't go to school and college and we go right into the workplace. Ultimately, it provides an incentive for us to do well, right? Because if we think about working hard is going to get us rich, if we think inventing new things is going to enlighten us, then what's going to happen is we're going to be more motivated to do this. And this is how people make more money. Here you got 90p, it represents money in a different country, but it's money. Where communism and socialism are a little bit different. Communism, they're not about freedom so much as they're about equality, meaning that all people, whether you're poor, handicapped, different religions, different ethnicities, you all get fed, you all get educated, you're all equal, right? People work together to make sure that all of society gets included and gets taken care of. No longer you're going to have a boss telling you what to do, right? We think of it like a fish in a school of fish. We all swim together. And this is going to allow us to work cooperatively, right? Our choices as an individual, we don't really have them, but the community makes the choices for us. And in this way, the best decisions are always the ones that are going to help the community as a whole and help society as a whole. It's all about living together in a society. So we have common ownership, right? There's not one person like Bill Gates who becomes rich and powerful. Instead, the people own the companies, and if the country gets rich, then people get rich. And if the business is successful, then people are successful. And what the idea of communism does is it gets rid of social class. There are no longer rich people. There are no longer poor people. Everybody is truly equal. Now, obviously, this is not reality, right? This is the idea of communism. In reality, capitalism, what we found from a capitalist mentality is that communism lacks incentive, meaning that it says that everyone's going to contribute to the whole, but what ends up happening is that people don't. One of the big problems of the Cold War at the end of World War II, of course, where this all comes to a head, is that both the USSR and the USA have these two different ways of life, and then World War II ends. And the first decision we have to do is, what do we do with Germany, right? So, of course, the four major victors of World War II are England, the United States, France, and Russia. And we're going to divide Germany into four sections. Russia's going to get the largest section because they were the ones that actually took most of Germany from the Nazis. Berlin is the capital of Germany, and Berlin is 100 miles on the Russian side. And since Berlin is so important as the capital city, they divide Berlin into 4 sections, much like they divided the country into 4 sections. There's an English, a France, a USA, and a Soviet side. But the problem is, how do we get supplies and goods into this capital city of Berlin if it's all the way in the Russian side? And so what the United States does is we drive our goods, our foods, our things into the Soviet side. The problem is this allows the Soviets to control what type of goods we bring in. At the time when the Soviet Union shut down our trucking in supplies, they only had food for about 36 days, and they only had supplies for about 45 days. And USA in Berlin was completely surrounded by Soviet soldiers. And this became a very dangerous position. The United States had a decision to make. Are we going to pull out of Berlin and just let the capital of Germany go to the Soviets? Or are we going to sit and fight it, possibly starting a World War III? If we don't do anything and we just kind of stay there, the German people themselves might riot from lack of food and supplies and throw us out. And this is the major decision the United States has to make, and it's really the start of the Cold War, because now it puts the United States at odds with the Soviet Union and capitalism at odds with communism. It's not like we can be friends, because the truth is a communist country that believes in equality and cooperation can't really be friends with a capitalist society that believes in the wealthy get the power, and if you work hard, you'll possibly make money. Those two ideas are at odds with each other. They don't fit together, and that's where the Cold War begins. And this all comes to a head at the end of World War II in 1945, and of course explodes in 1948 when the Berlin Airlift takes place. Now tomorrow we're going to learn all about the Berlin Airlift, and how when the Soviet Union shuts down our ability to drive supplies into Berlin, the only option is the United States has to fly our supplies there. Now, if we fly our supplies there, Russia now has an option. Are they going to shoot our planes out of the sky and start World War III? Or are they just going to look the other way? And the Berlin Airlift was a very scary time for us. A lot of people thought World War III was going to happen, but ultimately the Soviet Union decided not to shoot our planes out of the sky. Today, what you're going to do is I'm putting a reading on Google Classroom about the candy bombers. Now, the candy bombers have to do with the Berlin Airlift. These are pilots who, out of their goodness of their own heart, they decide to drop candy. While they're bringing supplies into Berlin, they sneak candy aboard, and they literally throw it out the windows of the plane as they come into the Berlin airport, and they put little parachutes on it. And it's about how they start giving candy to these kids in Berlin who've suffered throughout World War II. And it really wins the hearts of all Germans at that time who are living in Soviet territory to love the United States and realize how compassionate the United States is towards their plight. And that's the Berlin Airlift, and those are the candy bombers. So today you're going to read all about the candy bombers, and I want you to answer those questions on Google Classroom. All right, hey guys, I'm back. So hopefully that lesson, I know there's a lot of questions in the chat about this quiz. We're going to go over that in a few minutes. So before I do that, I do want to talk about the assignments and kind of give you a little preview and stuff like that. So there we go. Let me move my mic a little bit closer. Look at this fancy guy. Look at that. That's my mic, by the way. It's my new one, just so I could sound a little bit better. All right, so here we go. How's that? Oh, how's the background music? I don't want it to be too distracting. So containment, the idea, right? Obviously, that whole video was about the difference between communism and capitalism. And the communist Soviets, when they invade, you can see here on this political cartoon, right? This map. When they invaded the Germans during World War II, they did not liberate Poland and Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia and Bulgaria and East Germany. They didn't beat the Germans and then give those lands back to the people. They kept those lands and they turned them communist. And so where we liberated France and then we gave France back to the people, the Soviets were not doing that. And so immediately Harry Truman, the president of the United States, needed to think of how are we going to contain the Soviet Union. Now this here picture, this is this guy with the very beautiful mustache. I love mustaches. With the pipe is Joseph Stalin. He's the leader of the Soviet Union during this time. And remember, Harry Potter, containment Harry Potter. Did I just say Harry Potter?
Yeah.
If this was a video, I would edit that out, ladies and gentlemen. It's not Harry Potter. It's Harry Truman. See, I've been watching movies with my son at night, like Pirates of the Caribbean and Harry Potter. Anyway, so Harry Truman immediately needs to contain the spread of communism. So check this out. I got this. This is a cool one right here. Let's switch slides. All right. So in the video, I talked briefly about the Berlin Airlift, okay? And the Berlin Airlift is basically in that map where they showed how Berlin was in the Russian side of Germany after they split up Germany. This political cartoon does a good job of showing just exactly what situation the United States was in. We controlled a section of Berlin, but it was completely surrounded by the Soviets. And you could see the little trucks coming in here. The Soviets weren't selling these people food and things like that and supplies. And so we had to truck them in. And when the Soviets, one of the first instances of the Cold War is the Soviets stop our trucks from driving on their land. Since the Berlin is all the way in their section of Germany, they pretty much say, nope, you can't drive in our land anymore. Not allowed. And so we have to figure out a way to get our supplies to the people of Germany that we control of Berlin without going on Russian land, which is why it's the airlift. We're going to fly our supplies in, which is this cartoon, which is adorable. There's that big mustache again, by the way. So you can see West Germany is the United States Germany, and East Germany with Berlin is the Soviet Germany. And you have Harry Truman with his lovely glasses are flying overhead, kind of showing the Russians that, you're not going to let us drive in our land. That's fine. We're going to fly planes. By the way, during the Berlin Airlift, for like 6 months, every minute of the day, 24 hours a day, a plane took off from West Germany and flew supplies to East Germany. Every minute. That's how many planes it took to feed and clothe and provide supplies like toilet paper and things like that. We know how that goes right now with coronavirus. Every minute it took, right, to like 2 million people living in Berlin. All right, so here's one of the first cartoons that are going to be about your quiz, okay? So this is all about the Truman Doctrine. This has to do with containment. Basically, at the end of World War II, Harry Truman realized that Europe is destroyed from Germany. And so they're all going to turn to the communists and the Russians to help them rebuild after what the Germans did. And so one way the United States is going to fight this to try to stop the spread of communism is basically we're going to bring money and give money to Western Europe, okay, to help rebuild their schools, places like that, the infrastructure that was bombed out. And so this cartoon here, you have the Dr. U.S. Congress, right? We're going to drive to Western Europe to help them out. But above us in the sky is the evil bird communism, and they're bringing chaos. So if we don't help Western Europe get better and get fixed, communism is going to help them, and we don't want that because it's going to bring chaos and just going to create a bigger problem, and it's going to hurt our containment. Remember, we're trying to stop the spread of communism. So let's take a look here, right? So the first part of your quiz is going to be about the Truman Doctrine. It's going to look like this, okay? This is your quiz that you're going to be doing on Google Classroom. It says Containment and the Truman Doctrine. So it's all about what we just talked about. So please watch this video again if you need more feedback. You're going to read this little reading and look at the cartoon, and you're going to answer the questions right in Google Classroom. The other part of your Google Classroom quiz is the Candy Bombers Berlin Airlift. All right. Now, candy bombers are awesome. Basically, during the Berlin Airlift, when these guys are flying over getting supplies to Berlin, U.S. Air Force pilots, out of the goodness of their heart, just decide for fun to open up the plane windows and literally throw bags of candy out into the neighborhoods as they're flying over Berlin, because they realize that the children of Germany have suffered for the last 6 years in World War II. And so they start throwing out candy and things like this. And it really indirectly goes a long way of winning the hearts of Germany to really love America and not support communism. So it was like an interesting thing. So you're going to be reading this Uncle Wiggly Wigs, the Candy Bomber. You're going to read all about this. And then you're going to be answering these questions in your Google Classroom. And how it's going to look, right? I'm going to exit out of this little PowerPoint I have, and we're going to go right into Google Classroom. So what you're going to do is on your stream, it says Due Friday. You're going to see the beginning of the Cold War quiz. You're going to click on it, and you're going to bring up everyone gets assigned a Google slide. I assigned it for you. It's all of the cartoon stuff that we did, but what you guys have to answer is you're going to have to do the reading, answer the questions. Now, the way I did it is you could type your answers right in here, okay? Just like that. And then you come down here to this part, and again, you're going to type your answers right in here, right? And if you need to add a slide because you need more space for your answers, that's totally fine. And that's what we're going to do, okay? That's the quiz. So, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, guys, I'm like, yesterday's lesson I did not like. I got to be honest with you. I didn't like it because I just feel like I'm trying to find creative ways to kind of engage you guys. I know that you're at home and you want more like FaceTime, but at the same time, like me just being live isn't enough. Me sitting in front of a computer like this, to me, it gets kind of boring. I want to do more fun stuff. A lot of the videos and the cool stuff that I show in class, I'm not allowed to show on these live streams because of copyright issues. Even though I'm not making a profit, it depends on the content creator. So if it's like a TED Talk and I show you a TED Talk, you know, they can copyright it and they can actually shut down and prevent me from live streaming. So I have to be really careful that I don't fall into that category. I will be posting these videos right after they're done on my YouTube channel. So if you need to like watch them again, you totally can. And now we're pretty much done for the day. But I'm going to ask if there are any questions in chat. Please put it up. Also today, I'm definitely going to be grading all, and you're going to start to see, I already graded them, but I haven't posted them. I'm going to post your grades for last week's question of the day stuff. Also, remember, you don't have a question of the day today. So what you're going to do for those guys who just joined in, you're going to go to the question of the day sheet, and when you get ready to answer for Tuesday, you're just going to write quiz, just showing me that we didn't have a question today, we had a quiz. Are there any questions in chat? I'm going to take a look at the chat now. Let's bring it over to the main. Wait. I have two monitors here if you're wondering what I'm looking at. There we go. There we go. Look at this. Beautiful chat. If all my work takes me 4.5 hours today, I'm going to quit. Delaney, is it really taking that long? Because if that's the truth, I'll talk to your teachers and we'll see if we can like limit. And Delaney, what's taking the longest? I'm going to take the slow chat off so that we can really see everything here, and you guys can, there we go. All right, slow chat is off, so this way you can answer my questions. So Delaney, is it really taking that long, and which class is taking the longest? I'm really kind of curious. Vietnam will be like its own standalone, like 2 days, so it won't really. What's going on with the Regents? Dante, the Regencies are canceled, so that's what's going on with the Regencies. They've been officially canceled. They're trying to figure out what type of graduation requirements and things like that. I don't know how they're going to make it up next year, but that's something that we need to deal with. English, Matt? English is the one taking the longest? All right, I'll talk to Mrs. H and just kind of find out what's going on. But you guys should not be, I don't think you guys should be doing, you know, I know it's school, but four hours for one day a week might not be bad. But every day it's a little crazy.
Wait. Robert Sim said, math and English take the longest, and I still have slow chat. Also, what candy did they drop?
Oh, it's a great question. They dropped chocolate, mostly chocolate. And they had little cute parachutes. So when they threw it out, it actually parachuted into the neighborhoods, Robert. And some of the candy floated into the Soviet side, and the Soviets were so mad because the German kids living in the Soviet side started to fall in love with America more than Russia. It was like a propaganda scandal. So if I didn't do it all at once, it would take up all that time. That's crazy. I'm sorry. The math takes the longest. All right, I'll talk to Shower too, okay? So we'll see if we can try to fix that a little bit. I hear you, Victoria. Math definitely takes the longest. So English and math seem to be the two favorite. How's science going? Is that doing all right? Let's see. Dante, you go from 8 to 12:30. That's pretty good. It's not bad. Being done at 12:30 is not awful. You got anyone doing gym? Are you counting gym in there? Because I'm finding that I need to start working out because being at this home is making me feel like I'm a house cat and I'm losing my muscles. You wish they would drop candy over coronavirus areas? That's true, as long as they wore rubber gloves.
Yeah, I wish that too.
Andrew, what do you mean there's no work? Maybe I'll try not to get up every 2 minutes today. Oh, because you're distracted. I gotcha. We only have Castle Learning for science? Okay. All right, that's not bad.
Did the U.S. drop toys? Christian M asked.
Christian M asked, did the U.S. drop toys? No, they did not drop toys. Now, and by the way, the pilots who dropped it, it was either, like, they just decided to. They thought they were going to get in trouble when it became public that they were doing this, and they didn't. Mark, you're exercising your fingers by typing. I know, we're all going to come back with, like, super fingers. Look at the muscles on those fingers. All right, moving on. No work if you turn off your computer. That's true.
Oh.
Say hi back, Sean Hip. Say hi back.
Hi.
Right here, look. Say hi back.
Hi.
There you go. He said hi.
You just broke the green screen.
I know, I did break the green screen. It's fine, though. All right, we're almost done, so I'll go for like another 2 minutes. I have a question. All right, I'm all ears, Sean. Type it in. How fast can I type? Not fast at all. I'm like a 4-finger typer. I need to learn how to type better.
I just type.
Yeah, JJ, my son also types with 2 fingers. Put them out.
I'll stay in the picture.
Megan, I want to go back to school too. Can you change your background? Because it's too white? Is that what the issue is?
It's definitely too white.
All right, let's go with, the school website. There's a good background.
Oh.
All right, so, Daniel Capone, it's good to see you. Brendan is the fastest typing. He is. Connolly's crazy fast. The quiz is up because... is the quiz up because I don't see it? The quiz should be up. Let me take a look. All right. Let's go to Google Classroom. Georgia, you are in period 5, I believe. So if you go to period 5, it says due Friday right here. And it says... Here, I'll zoom in a little bit. Let's. I'm going to start getting fancy on you guys here. All right.
Yeah, I'm in school.
There we go, right? So it says due Friday right here. You could also go to classwork up top, but if you just click on due Friday, it'll look like this.
Hi.
There we go.
Hi.
And
Hi.
and here's your quiz. So that should answer. That should be your quiz. Hold on, Jay. Period 2. Yeah, Georgia. Hopefully that answered your question. Let me know if it did.
Christian M asked, did they drop candy from White Plains? Just like they offer candy in white vans?
That's not funny, Christian. That's scary. That's Christian. That's scary. You heard?
How is that scary?
I don't know, but I don't know, because you don't want candy from white. See, my son's a 9-year-old. You're corrupting. Don't do that.
All right, I'm
such a son of I can't. There we go. All right, one more question. I want to go back. I haven't seen anyone besides my family. Yeah, totally agree. Yesterday I had yesterday I was like depressed. So I think it's normal to kind of be like this with emotions. I felt like I was in a slump yesterday. Like I couldn't, and we went outside. We did sidewalk chalk in the front yard. I was just like I couldn't. I felt like a house cat. Like I was like, ugh. I need to like go out and run, do something, you know. Do you think we'll get back to school anytime soon, Angelina? I think September, maybe May. When will you do Kahoot? James Didi, I don't think we can. There's too much of a delay. Like I'm literally like 12. All right, so I'm gonna go. So that's the case. So I think tomorrow at 3 p.m. on Wednesday, I'm gonna do a period 2 Zoom conference. So all the kids in my period 2, you're gonna be able to, if you want to, it's not mandatory. You're gonna be able to like Zoom in and chat with me. At 3 p.m., we'll do 5 on, Friday and things like that. So we'll do 1. Say bye, Jay.
Bye.
Say bye, Jay.
Bye.
Say
Bye.
Jay.
Oh.